Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so glad to be here today. I hope you have been great. So today we are going to carry on with our series, which was to do with conditions that affect the tummy. So today we are going to talk about irritable bowel syndrome, which is also abbreviated IBS. So if you are someone who suffers from that condition, or you know someone who has that condition, then please stay with me. And if you are just curious to know what this is all about, then by all means do stay here with me. My name is Joyce and I'm a physician associate in general practice, and I share health content on this channel. I share about specific conditions, and I also share about health and wellness in general as well. I definitely share content with regards to being a physician associate in general practice and in the UK as well. So stick with me and I'm going to come back right here. IBS is a chronic condition, so this means that this is a condition that is an ongoing condition. It's not something that can be cured, but as you will get to find out later on in the video, you understand why and how that can be managed. So it is a condition that affects the tummy. Risk factors are, if you are a young female, and the other thing is certain foods would trigger the symptoms. So in some cases, other people would say maybe sugary foods, spicy foods, chocolate for some people as well. I'm sorry. Depression is another one. So your mental health is very key to whether or not you then have these symptoms coming up as well. And infections which affect the abdominal area or the abdominal part of your body can also trigger those symptoms. Having a family history of IBS is another risk factor. So in terms of what are the signs and symptoms of IBS? Abdominal pain, most people would describe it as a cramping sort of pain. And the other symptom is you can either have diarrhea mainly or constipation mainly. But some people actually have a mixed picture where you have diarrhea and then constipation, and you can't get that balance right somehow. Bloating and being gassy. And the last one is having mucus in your stool as well. Of course, there are other conditions that can have these symptoms. So I'm not saying if you have this, you definitely have IBS, but that's something that could possibly be causing those symptoms. So you've come in to see your general practitioner, you've come in to see your family doctor. How are they going to investigate you? So they will examine your tummy, of course, and then the next thing they will do, they would order some blood tests. Those blood tests are also to exclude if there is any inflammation, if there is an alternative cause for your symptoms. For example, is there some intolerance to maybe gluten? Symptoms is other reasons for your symptoms. The other thing is you would most likely ultimately have a camera down the back passage which is called a colonoscopy, which would look at, is there any indication of other conditions there or some other reason why you're having the symptoms. Ultimately, IBS is a diagnosis of exclusion, which means there is no actual specific test that says you have IBS, but instead it's a diagnosis based on we have excluded these conditions. So the only other explanation there is that you have irritable bowel syndrome, which is IBS. So that's what that means. In terms of management, it's important to look at your diet. Identify what are your triggers? People are different, people have different triggers. So identify what your triggers are and try and just avoid those specific foods. Another thing is to eat a low FODMAP diet. Another thing is you might have medication, especially if you're having, because people really do struggle with tummy cramping, and sometimes it can be really painful, in which case then you can have medications called antiplasmodics, which would address that. If maybe your IBS is predominantly constipation, then you would have something to address that in the form of laxatives. If it's diarrhea, then we would control that symptom with the appropriate treatment as well. So as you can imagine, this condition can affect you not only physically but also with regards to your mental health, in the sense that you are likely going to the toilet so frequently, you're trying to work and trying to get on with your life. So it can affect a lot of people psychologically as well. So you can, in that case, have some form of therapy to support you with regards to how, just to cope with that condition mentally as well. It's important that all patients are educated with regards to this condition and educated on how they can track their triggers and try and avoid them. So if you're someone who has this condition or know someone who might or has already had a confirmed diagnosis that it is IBS, then please share this with them so that they can also benefit from what we're talking about here. And also, if you are someone who is interested in health topics and interested in knowing what physician associates do or are all about, then please share this video, subscribe, like this video. That helps me as a channel to grow as well. Thank you so much. I will see you on another one. Bye.